Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Krysrain deck profile for post-Illusionless Strife. We got some more support for the Faded one of Ever-Changing from the original Faded Clash booster set. This added support definitely does help with the Krysrain deck, which its focus is to have, many different units in your deck to benefit from Krysrain's first skill, and then being able to utilize her Divine skill as well for the multiple attacks and added power to a rearguard unit. A very fun Lyrical Monasterio deck, very anime themed around it as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck. For the ride deck, we have the energy generator with our starter being Wonder Lavender or Sol. When rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. The grade 1 is Lively Navy Tefane. When rode upon by Confident Aqua Musette, reveal the top card of your deck, call it to rearguard if it's a grade 2 or less normal unit, put in your hand if it's not. So if you get a grade 3, you can at least add to your hand, setting up more of your different rearguards thanks to this grade 1 with our grade 2 being Confident Aqua Musette. When rode upon by a grade 3 with Krysrain and its card name, reveal the top card of your deck, call it to rearguard if it's a grade 3 or less normal unit, put it in your hand. If it is not, more rearguard setup, so you don't have to really invest your hand too much for the first couple calls for your rearguards, with our grade 3 being Faded 1 of Ever-Changing Krysrain, along with the copy we run in the ride deck. We also run 3 copies in the main deck as well for the Persona Ride power. On Vanguard, once per turn, you can counterblast 1, perform one of the following. If you have 4 more units with different card names, perform 2 instead, and of 1. And if you have 5 or more, perform all instead of 1. You draw a card and energy charge 3. You choose one of your units and it gets plus 15 till end of turn, and this unit gets critical plus 1 till end of turn. So if you have your 5 different units, you have a draw 3 additional energy charge. Choosing one of your units, which if you want to, make full use of the Divine skill, you can give it to your Vanguard. And then having your Krysrain get critical plus 1 just adds to the pressure that this card can provide. With its Divine skill being at the end of the battle this unit attacked, grade 3 or greater unit, return all of your rearguards to your hand. Choose up to 1 unit card from your hand, call it to rearguard till end of turn. Increase or decrease that unit's power and critical to match this unit. So the more power you give to Krysrain, even if your opponent gets a critical or a perfect card against this card, you can give all the effects to it with no fear, because then you'll just bounce all of your rearguards and then have your other rearguard match the critical and power of this card as well. For the other grade 3s in the deck, still running the 3 copies of Vivid Flash Wheezemay, one of the better cards to call out thanks to our Divine skill when it attacks a grade 3 or greater unit. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, you can counterblast 1 and it gets plus 15 until the end of that battle. So you have the power match when you use this card for the Divine skill to match your Vanguard's power, but then you can have it get an additional plus 15, so it'll be even stronger than what your Vanguard was thanks to that power also. And for the grade 2s, we're running 4 copies of the new Loving Pink Francette. When this unit is chosen by the effect of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 10 until end of turn. So this just helps to power up your Vanguard as well, giving it an additional plus 10,000 power. So when it's bounced by that grade 3 card effect, since the option for the unit, you return all your rearguards to your hand, choosing up to 1 card from your hand. So when it's chosen by that skill, you'll be able to then have your Krysrain get the plus 10,000 power since you chose Francette as that additional card, having an additional plus 10 for your Francette then to be able to get as well. And when this unit attacks, if you have 3 or more units with different card names, it gets plus 5,000 to end of turn. If you have 4 more units at the end of the battle, choose up to 1 of your other rearguards and return to your hand, having additional bounce power as well thanks to that card, just as an early game option. If you didn't want to go for the Divine skill, you at least have more bounce power thanks to Francette also. And then also the 4 copies of our Dazzle Bubble Paradise Pressia, having the Counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3 option when discarded from hand or from riding from the ride deck, or when placed in the guard circle to draw a card. And when it's placed on rearguard, if you Persona Road this turn, you can Counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3. Choose one of your units until end of turn, it gets plus 5, and if you chose a rearguard, return it to the hand at the end of that turn. More bounce power on top of the Francettes that we're running, while also being able to make use of the Energy Blast we use in the deck. And more Energy Blast use comes in the form of the last grade 2 we run, which is 3 copies of Innocent Orange Ines. When placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, you can Counterblast 1 and Energy Blast 3. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card from among them with a different name from one of your cards on Vanguard or rearguard, and call it to rearguard and shuffle the deck, setting up more different name units in the deck. And when it attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if you have 4 or more units with different card names, it gets plus 10,000 till the end of battle. For our grade 1s, we have a wide variety of grade 1s that we run on the deck just to help with the different named, units to play for Krysrain. 2 copies of the new Ballad of My Own Someday Ziska. When placed on rearguard, if you do not have another rearguard with the same card name as this unit, perform one of the following. If you have 4 more units, you can counter blast 1 and draw a card, or you can energy blast 3 and heavy get +10 to end of turn. Added pressure for a boosted unit, or if you have to attack with a grade 1. 2 copies of Cynical Composer Rom, being able to have a guard restriction aside from Sentinels, making it so your opponent has to guard with 3 or more cards with different grades at the same time, or they can choose to use their Sentinel for the battle this unit boosted. If you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, it also gets +5, and when it boosts a Vanguard with Krysrain, you get the guard restriction play. We also run 2 copies of Blue-Haired Prodigy Resius, a 3k grade 1, but it's mostly used to give power to our Vanguard, choosing one of our other units and giving it +10 when placed on rearguard. 2 copies of Beware of Overeating Eileen, to be able to, when it boosts to rearguard, check the top card of our deck and put it on the top or bottom of the deck for more setup to hopefully get into a trigger with our Vanguard also. And also 2 copies of Cooling Heart Eureka for the added bounce power that this card provides, along with additional power when another rearguard is put into the same column as it. And also 2 copies of Smiley Smiley Albina. If you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard with Krysrain and its card name, it gets +5,000 power and shield +5. So when you bounce it back to hand, you have a 10k guard to be able to guard against some of your opponent's weaker attacks that you just need a 23k total power to guard against. And 1 copy of the Rainbow of Jeweled Beast Opus, with this card having more of the putback options for our ride deck to get shield +5, or choosing a card with the same name as your Vanguard from your solar drop and putting it into your hand, so add back power as well. With the rest of our grade 1s being the Sentinel lineup, I like to run the different Sentinels as well, so we have the different units to potentially use as well, and then we'll always bounce back our rear guards, so just the potential to add back our Sentinel from our rear guard to our hand also. For the trigger lineup, going with the different triggers as well for the criticals, so 1 of each critical, which you can just run with your preference of choice for this lineup, having 4 of the lyrical and then 4 of the Bang Dream criticals as well. As I said, as long as you have different named ones, it helps when using the different unit abilities for Krysrain. The only one that's the same is the draw, so you have the additional 5k shield when you run your draw triggers, but our heals do have the same different name premise as well. None of the ability ones, just running all the 15k ones to use for their shield without needing special requirements. And then our over trigger is Spiritual King of Aquatics, Eidos Faro, for being able to choose a card from our drop, putting it into our hand, and choosing one of our units, and it gets critical +1 till the end of turn. Added pressure to provide this to our Vanguard, because then we can have our Divine Skill and our Rearguard hit for some pretty immense numbers as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, just updating some of the other Faded Clash decks. I know I still have to make the Faded One of Time video, so definitely look forward to that, just gathering up the cards for it. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.